But before all of that, it's the O Deck with Gordo, brought to us by Man's Best Friend and A Number One Air.
I'm a great believer and a great hypocrite when it comes to the power of now. Staying in the present. Don't look too far in the past, too far in the future. It's very important for a happy life. But I have so much of my childhood stuff, it is amazing. And yesterday, I went through boxes that I've kept over the years. I have all of my report cards, my Hot Wheels, my childhood bat, my childhood baseball glove, every watch I've ever owned, my, top stuffed animals, three or four of those. Yeah.
Got the stuffed animals still?
Yeah. Well, there was one Snoopy doll that I had that I...
Snoopy Dog,
and I did the voice for. My sister and I would play with the Snoopy Dog like 12 hours a day for like 4 years. And he had a whole world, and I had voices for him, and then all these other stuffed animals. And
Snoopy Dog.
So that's the most sentimental of all, probably of all my childhood things, that Snoopy doll. But I have my Tooth Fairy pillow. I'm trying to think, all my Hot Wheels. Like everything that was important or like was an object from my room when I was a kid that I remember with some importance. Seems like I basically have it.
I have a lot of that stuff too. It's just that I probably only go back and look at it maybe every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's about right.
I kind of like keeping it as long as I have room for it.
See, I do too. It's like time travel. It's weird having a museum of your childhood.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, and every time I think, I need to throw this out, be unburdened by it, the past is past. But then I'll think of something, or I'm writing a story or a column, and I'll get to question myself, now wasn't this, didn't we go on this vacation at this point? Well, I can go back and look at the brochures that I have from that vacation. They have the dates on them. So I can fact check my own narrative in my head. It's weird also to tell yourself stories of your past that you've always thought were true, and then you go back and you talk with your parents, or you see the paperwork of something or the physical object you're thinking of, and it's different than you remembered it. And so this story that you've always told yourself turns out not to be true. Memory is such a tricky thing like that.
I think it's great to go back and revisit your past as long as it doesn't affect your present, as long as it doesn't end up depressing you, or if don't bring any of that baggage to your current life, then I think it's fine.
I've just been amazed at how much stuff I had because, we would live in small apartments the compound, and then there was my first apartment after that, and so on. And parents do a good job of keeping the stuff for a while, and then your parents will get tired of it and start offloading it. Hey, listen, I'm cleaning out the house. I have your old so-and-sos. Do you want these? Do you want some of this? And so then, ultimately, you're responsible for maintaining your own childhood museum. But the question is, how much of your past should you keep? I'll tell you one story I always thought that when I moved here in 7th grade, that's when my grades tanked. It was a very traumatic move for me. I was entering junior high, which is a special kind of hell that the Lord created for us on the 6th day before he rested. He was so tired after creating junior high, he had to rest on the 7th day. But I told myself that, and then I went back and looked at my report cards, and now I was a class goof-off well before then. 4th grade, I was already getting, he needs to start straightening up in class. He's a massive distraction.
You were going to do that no matter where you were.
Right. But I had told myself the story because of junior high trauma was when I became a class clown. But that wasn't a true story. And that's a pretty big story in my life. Someone like me who, is a professional goof-off, that's my origin story was all wrong. Based on me being able to go back and look at my teacher's comments from 3rd, 4th grade and that. But at the same time, it's like carting that stuff around. Like, how much should parents really keep of a kid? There's some parents who didn't keep anything from their kids, and their kids are kind of pissed about it. It's like, hey, where's my my treasured Madam Alexander doll, Mom? And, oh, sweetheart, I threw that away when you turned 12.
Hey, some parents rent out storage units for their kids' stuff. And
really?
And still keep it.
That might be too much. I was going to say you should be able to keep about 3 of those big moving boxes full of your childhood stuff. I think that's adequate. That's a lot of stuff.
Sounds like Gordo may need a storage unit.
Forces you to be selective when calling it, hey, I only have this much space. What of these things is the most important?
But 3 big boxes, you can put a lot of memories in 3 big boxes, but it also doesn't clutter up an entire attic or garage. It's a nice, tidy amount.
But, like, what's the point of keeping my childhood baseball glove, my Mickey Rivers lefty glove?
That, I think, there's plenty of that. Someday, show it to your grandkids. Hey, this is what baseball gloves used to look like.
Really? Thanks, Granddad. All right, go ahead.
No, I think that's
Granddad's boring.
Jeez. Who wants to see his old baseball glove?
I can understand that more than...
Did you become a major leaguer, Dad? Why, Granddad, why are you showing it to us?
I can understand that more than... Hey, this is a stuffed animal I used to play with and did all sorts of crazy voices to. Okay, see you later, Granddad.
I keep my stuffed animals, too. I keep Bear and Monkey because they were like my best friends.
Yeah, you had a sad childhood.
I did.
Very.
I have my favorite record when I was a kid, a little 45 that my mom bought me when I was 3. I used to play it over and over again, like almost as a tick. I just had to listen to that to be comforted by the world. I have all that stuff. A lot. Yeah, it does.
So how many boxes do you have?
I unloaded... See, because here's the other thing, is I also have, like, all of my dad's old financial records.
A little weird?
It is a little bit weird, but I tell you, it's been great when I found those, and he gave me these boxes, because I went back and, like, I would remember, hey, when did we get that TV that was such a magical experience when that thing was delivered to the house? Mm-hmm. And, I kind of narrow it down in my mind, and then I'd go back to his credit. Wow, there it is. Wow, we paid that much for it. Now, is any of that beneficial? I don't know, but it is interesting to me. And like I went back and found out when I got my first guitar, and I'd found canceled checks for the instruments that I would get, and how cheap they were. And it was interesting just reconstructing my musical history, too, through these canceled checks or credit card statements. Finding out exact dates that we moved from a town to another town, because you'd see the check that would on the memo line have for the move on November 24th.
Right.
Stuff like that.
So how many boxes
it's like ridiculous
total
archives. So,
of memories do you have?
I would say that I probably have 7 boxes total of medium-sized.
And that includes your dad's stuff?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad, but see, I also have other things. I have, like, a lot of family furniture. I have, here's a couple I have for you. The rotary phones that sat in my grandparents' house from about 1965 to whenever they passed away in the early aughts. I have their desk rotary phones. My grandfather's on one side and my grandparents' kitchen phone on the other. Now, why?
See, I can see you in about 20 years setting up a house, and it's furnished with nothing but stuff from your childhood, and you live in it a lot like Anthony Perkins in Psycho, and you become Psycho.
Mm-hmm. And you hear me arguing in the middle of the night with people who have been long dead.
Yes.
Mother! I didn't say that, Mother! I wasn't looking at her, Mother!
All right, Gordo, thanks. That's the Odex 643 on the ticket. We're going to talk about this Cowboys roster. George wants ballers. How many do they actually have right now? Coming up in 10 minutes. But first,